Hi, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and you're watching thevog.net. I'm here at Volusia Motorsports in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and here with me, under his Vog screen name, is MJW930, otherwise known in the real world as Mark. We're standing in front of a 2012 Victory Cross Country Tour. Now, Mark, you own a 2010 Cross Country, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, now, you've had an opportunity to spend some time on the new model, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Okay, comparing your 2010 to the new Tour model, what's your initial thoughts between the two?
Well, initially, the most obvious thing is the wind management. The bike has, with the lowers and all of the different attachments and the windshield, the wind management that I'm used to from a touring bike. You know, in essence, you could ride this bike off the lot and not have to worry about changing out the windshield or doing anything to it. That was the single biggest thing that I noticed. Other than that, aside from some of the changes they've made to the transmission and all, the bike rode exactly the same, just better wind management.
Well, Mark, I've followed your progress online with all the different windshields that you've put on your cross country. Now, after riding this one, how do you think this compares to the various windshields that you put on yours?
Well, the windshield alone is a lot like the Tour windshield they had before, or like some of the bigger shields that C. Bailey offered. But I think the wind management that I noticed the most, it wasn't so much the windshield, it's the way they manage the wind on the lowers. That's where I found I had to spend most of my time. So really, it's not just putting a windshield on the cross country that's going to make it tourable, in my opinion. It's the entire envelope that you have to deal with, and a lot of that's from the wind coming underneath the fairing and up underneath the crash bars themselves.
We live in sunny South Florida, and granted, when you had the opportunity to really put some miles on this model, it was during a hot summer. How did that work with the airflow and the engine heat combination?
With the bottoms opened all the way up and the side wings opened, when you're riding, plenty of air. Obviously not as much as with nothing down there, but certainly enough to not have any heat issues. When you stop for a light or something like that, you do get some heat buildup because there's no air flowing through the vents, and you do have some covers down there. But certainly, actually less heat than I felt riding a Vision the same day.
Now, my understanding is you can take your model, you take the crash bars off and put the round bars back on, and then you can add these to your existing bike. Are you considering doing that?
Actually, I was considering it until I actually tried the C. Bailey inserts. They work for me, and for the price, a couple $100 versus $1,400-1,500 to do the complete conversion, I'm probably not going to do it at this point, but I was real close to doing it after I rode the bike, and if there wasn't some other solution, I would have done it.
Are there any other comparisons that you'd like to make between the two?
Well, with the addition of the top case, it is more top heavy than mine. That was the first thing I had to get used to on some slow speed turns, but no more than any other bagger with a top case on it. I like the new transmission. It's quieter. Mechanically, the bike is a little bit smoother than mine, so they've refined it, probably mostly due to the transmission. Other than that, they're virtually identical, so there really wasn't that big a difference.
So you think you'll be keeping your 2010 for a while?
Yeah, I probably will, at least a couple more years. See what they come out with, see what other makers come out with. I'm always my eyes open, but no, I think I've got the one I want for the next couple years.
Mark, I greatly appreciate your input, and I'm sure all of us online do as well. It's always refreshing when you hear a rider who can do a direct A-B comparison, basically the same bike with some modifications made on a new model from a factory, of how it changes, and it's a good resource for all of us. Are there any other tips that you would give somebody who's considering either a cross-country or cross-country tour?
If you were considering both, even if you think you don't really want the tour, when you add up what it costs to turn a regular cross-country into a tour, you have to buy the tour. You can always take off the top case. You can always replace the crash bars if you want to go in the summer and take these off. You can always change the windshield. It's a heck of a lot less expensive to decontent this bike than to take one that's already a base model and try to build it up.
Now, I didn't ask you anything about the audio system. There were no changes between the model years, were there?
The only change was the cover on the speakers, but I've already upgraded mine, so there was no change.
Now that you've owned a bike that has an audio system on it, do you think you could ever go back to having one without?
Not if I planned on riding more than an hour at a time.
Do you notice a quality difference between the various levels? For example, is your iPod or iPhone, does it deliver better sound quality than the radio or satellite?
I don't have the satellite, but the iPod definitely delivers better than the regular FM.
Do you think the connectivity is as good on motorcycles today as it is in cars?
Actually, up until the last car I bought, the connectivity was better on the bike than it was in the car. It's fully integrated, and you can control everything from the front. It doesn't have as much room on the display to give you kind of the detail you get on a car, but I think it's integrated as well as it could be for a bike.
Well, the good news is you should kind of keep your eyes forward and not be looking down too much. Just use the hand.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Mark, I do appreciate your time, and as always, I appreciate your input and expertise on the VOG.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
For the VOG.net, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and I'll see you on the road and online.